I want you to picture a map. Maybe it's one of those dusty old Gettysburg maps from a history book. Or maybe it's a board game on your kitchen table. You
Mhm.
see the river, the little cardboard forests, the hexagon grid. And usually when we look at a map like that, we see it as, well, geography,
As a static image, yeah.
right? Distance. I have to move 5 hexes to get to the hill. It's a game of geometry and, just counting.
That is how 99% of people see it.
Exactly. But today, we're going to flip that completely on its head. We're looking at a paper that argues we are looking at these maps all wrong.
That's a fascinating argument.
Yeah, we shouldn't be seeing trees and roads. We should be seeing these invisible mountains of danger and valleys of safety. We should be seeing a lethality landscape.
It's a very cool concept. We are diving into a paper by Trevor C. Lipscomb and Ian M. Robinson, and it's called Kill Zone Probability Field Theory.
Which, I'll admit, sounds like something you'd read to fall asleep. But stick with us, because what they've done is actually pretty wild. They've taken high-level physics, with specifically scalar field theory,
Right.
and they've smashed it together with a tabletop war game called Take That Bridge.
It's a total collision of two worlds. You've got the hard math of physics, where we talk about fields and gradients, and then you have the messy reality of wargaming, dice rolls, luck, psychology.
So what was their mission?
Their mission was to see if you can mathematically predict the winner of a battle just by analyzing the empty space on the board before the game even starts.
So we're essentially trying to see the matrix code behind the little cardboard counters.
That's a surprisingly good analogy. Yeah, we're stripping away the graphics to see the raw probability.
I love that. Okay, so let's start with the physics. Scalar field theory. I hear that, and I immediately want to check my phone. Can you break it down for us?
It sounds intimidating, but you experience it every single day. A scalar field is just a region of space where every point has a specific value.
A value of what?
Anything, really. Think about the room you're in right now. If we measured the temperature at every single inch of the room, near the window, next to the radiator, under a lamp, we could assign a number, a temperature, to every point.
Okay, I can picture that. It's like a weather map with those, colorful swirls. Red is not, blue is gold.
Exactly. The temperature changes as you walk across the room. You are literally walking through a scalar field of heat. Now imagine you're a soldier on a game board.
Okay.
The authors argue that the board is a scalar field, but instead of temperature, the value at every point is PK,
PK.
probability of kill, or total probability of attrition.
That is much darker than room temperature.
Just a little bit, but the logic is the same. If an enemy machine gun is pointing at a specific hex, the temperature, the PK value of that hex shoots way up. It's a hot zone.
So if you stand there.
If you stand there, the probability of you being removed from the game gets very close to 1.0, 100%.
So if I'm looking at this map through those physics goggles, I'm not seeing a road. I'm seeing a gradient. As I get closer to the enemy, the air just gets hotter and hotter.
Precisely. And this is where it gets tactical. Just like you'd stand behind a bookshelf to block heat from a fireplace, terrain on the map blocks the heat of enemy weapons.
The paper calls these shadows.
Yes, and it's such a great term for math paper. A shadow is an area where your line of sight is blocked, maybe by a forest or a hill. In that shadow, the PK value drops instantly to 0. It's a cool spot in the middle of a furnace.
So the whole game isn't about moving counters from A to B. It's about navigating these invisible gradients. You're trying to, surf the cool zones and void the spikes.
That's the theory. But, to prove it works, you have to look at the mechanics of the actual game they analyzed.
Because theory is one thing, but dice are another.
Exactly. You can have all the physics theories you want, but if the dice don't agree, well, you lose.
Fair enough. So let's look at Take That Bridge. It's a standard hex encounter war game. Blue versus red. What are the rules we need to know?
It's deceptively simple. To hit an enemy unit, you roll a 10-sided die, a d10. The number you need to roll depends entirely on the range.
Okay, give me the numbers.
So if the enemy is 10 hexes away, you need to roll a 10. That's a 10% chance. If they're 5 hexes away, you need a 5 or higher.
A 60% chance. So the lethal heat we talked about isn't uniform. It decays over distance. The closer you get, the more dangerous it becomes, exponentially.
Correct. And there's one other critical rule. You can move or fire. You cannot do both in the same turn.
The classic wargame dilemma. If I run, I can't shoot. If I shoot, I'm a sitting duck.
And this is where the authors did something really fascinating. They used these simple rules to run a simulation. They wanted to answer a debate that has raged in military strategy for centuries. Is it better to concentrate your fire or to spread it out?
Okay, let's set the stage. We have 3 blue units and 3 red units. Identical. Same guns, same everything. They're facing each other in a totally open field.
Right. No terrain, no shadows, just pure math.
Yeah.
Red decides to use the concentrated fire strategy.
I've heard this called the Death Star approach.
It fits. All 3 red units aim at one single blue unit. They just ignore the others. The goal is to guarantee that one guy gets wiped off the board.
Which makes sense, right? Intuitively, if I delete one of your pieces, you have one less gun to shoot back at me next turn. It's that death spiral.
That is the conventional wisdom, yeah. Now, blue takes the opposite approach. Distributed fire. Each blue unit targets a different red unit. One-on-one engagement.
So blue isn't guaranteeing a kill on anyone. They're just sort of spraying and praying across the whole line.
That's a good way to put it. So here's the question. They ran the simulation 30 times at a range of 8 hexes. That means each shot has a 30% chance to hit.
Okay.
Who wins? The Death Star or the Swarm?
My gut tells me the Death Star. Red kills one guy for sure. Blue, with a 30% chance, might miss everyone. So red starts turn 2 with a clear numbers advantage. Red wins.
That is exactly what I thought too. And, well, we would both be wrong.
Really?
It wasn't even a little bit close. Blue, the side that spread its fire, won 22 out of the 30 games.
Whoa. Hang on. 22 out of 30. That is a landslide. That's almost a 75% win rate.
Yeah.
Just by changing who you aim at.
Yes, statistically, it's massive.
Okay, you have to explain the math on this because my brain is kind of rejecting it. Why is maybe hitting 3 people better than definitely killing one?
Let's just walk through a hypothetical turn 1. I think that helps. So imagine you're the red commander. You have 3 soldiers. You order them all to fire at, I don't know, Private Ryan on the blue side.
Ryan.
You roll 3 dice. With a 30% hit rate for each, the odds are overwhelming that you will get at least 1 hit. So Private Ryan is toast. He's gone.
Okay, so blue is down to 2 units. Red is still at 3. Advantage red.
But look at what red actually achieved. They killed 1 unit. They inflicted exactly 1 casualty. Because even if all 3 of your soldiers rolled a hit, you can't kill Ryan 3 times. Those extra hits are just wasted. They evaporate. It's overkill.
I see. It's an efficiency cap. Red has a ceiling of 1 kill per turn, no matter how lucky they get.
Exactly. Now let's flip it. You're the blue commander. 3 soldiers, 3 different red targets. You roll your 3 dice, each looking for that 30% chance.
Okay, so I roll. First die's a miss, second's a miss, third one's a hit.
So in that case, you killed 1 guy. You tied red for the turn. But what if you get a little lucky? You roll hit, miss, hit.
Now I've killed 2 red units.
Right. And because you spread your fire, those 2 hits actually count. You didn't overkill anyone. And this is where the first hit math comes in. It's all based on the binomial distribution. See, if you flip 3 coins, the odds of getting at least 1 heads is actually really high. It's 87.5%. So blue has a very high probability of getting at least 1 kill, just like red. But blue also has a decent probability, about 20% of getting 2 kills. And a small but real chance of getting 3.
So red is playing it safe with a guaranteed outcome of -1 enemy. But blue is gambling. And the math says the gamble pays off because the upside is potentially wiping out the entire enemy team in one go.
It's all about the curve of potential outcomes. Red truncates their curve. They literally cut off their own potential for a lucky break. Blue embraces the variance.
And there's a strategic layer too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if I kill 2 of your guys, I haven't just reduced your numbers. I've reduced your outgoing fire for next turn.
That is the first hit effect. By suppressing or killing multiple enemies early, you protect your own troops from return fire. If blue gets lucky and kills 2 red units in turn 1, red only has 1 guy left to shoot back. The game is pretty much over right there.
So the lethality landscape for blue is like a wide net. It catches more fish. Red is trying to spearfish one specific tuna, and yeah, they definitely catch it, but the rest of the school swims by and eats them.
That is a fantastic analogy. The volume of targets beats the precision of the kill.
Okay, so that's the lab experiment. 3 on 3 in an empty white room. But take that bridge. Isn't played in a vacuum. It has a map. It has objectives. How does this math survive contact with, reality?
This is where the paper gets really interesting, because it admits that the field theory gets messy when you add terrain and, well, ghosts.
Ghosts.
Fog of war. In the actual game, red starts with 15 hidden counters on the board.
Right, the little face-down tokens.
But here's the twist. Some of them are tanks, some are machine guns, but some of them are dummies. They're literally just cardboard boxes painted green.
So if I'm the blue player trying to apply scalar field theory, I'm in trouble. I'm looking at a hex and my math says this is a high danger zone.
Yeah.
But in reality, the danger might be 0. It might just be a dummy.
It creates a situation that's very similar to quantum mechanics. Until you observe the unit, until you get close enough to spot it, the lethality of that hex is in a state of superposition.
It's both deadly and harmless at the same time.
Exactly. Schrodinger's machine gun. And the only way to collapse that wave function, the only way to find out if it's real, is to step into the kill zone.
That is terrifying. You can't just sit back and calculate. You have to risk your neck just to get the data.
And this is where the game's objective forces your hand. Remember, the game is called Take That Bridge. Blue has to capture a very specific hex, Hicks 8 below 2 by turn 30.
And to make it worse, the bridge is wired with explosives, right?
Yes. If you don't get there in time, red just blows it up, and that changes the entire shape of the probability field.
I hope so.
Well, think of the bridge not as a hex, but as a gravity well, a black hole. No matter how much danger there is, no matter how hot the scalar field gets, blue must go there.
So in that open field experiment, blue could afford to hang back and use distributed fire. But here, the clock, that turn 30 limit, is constantly pushing them forward.
It compresses the field. The red player knows blue has to go to hex 8 below 2, so red can create what the paper calls a probability well, right around that spot. They can overlap all their fields of fire on the approach.
It's a trap by design.
And this is where the engineer comes in. The Blue Army has a special HQ unit with engineers who are experts at defusing these bombs.
Right, I remember this part. The standard grunts are terrible at it. They need to roll, what, a 1 on a d10?
A 10% chance. You could sit there for 10 turns and still fail. But the engineers, they get a massive bonus. They make defusing the bomb almost a statistical certainty.
So the mission isn't just kill the red guys anymore. It's get the engineers to the black hole without letting them die.
Exactly. You have to escort this very fragile, very important package through a very high-temperature room.
And this circles all the way back to the shadows we talked about. If I'm the blue player, I'm not looking for the best place to shoot from. I'm looking for the cool path.
You're looking for the thermal exhaust port. You have to find the one route where the terrain blocks the most red lines of sight, keeping that PK value as low as possible for your engineers.
But, and here's the rub, you also have to deal with those hidden units. You might plan this perfect cool route through the woods, pop out, and realize, oh, that dummy counter was actually a tank.
And that just destroys your math instantly. This is why the paper suggests that reconnaissance by fire becomes a mathematical necessity. You have to shoot at the shadows just to see if they scream.
Wow, that sounds brutal.
It is, but it links back to our distributed fire lesson. If you have 15 hidden counters, you can't use the Death Star strategy. You can't focus all your fire on one token because it might be a fake.
Right?
You must distribute your fire. You have to peel back the layers of the fog of war across the whole board.
So the math actually aligns with the strategy. You swarm the board with shots to reveal the truth, which helps you find the safe path for your engineers.
And once that path is clear, you rush the objective.
You know, it's funny. We started out talking about physics equations and binomial distributions, but we ended up describing this really intense narrative. The math doesn't remove the drama. It explains why the drama feels so high stakes.
That's the big takeaway for me. Whether it's a war game or launching a product or even navigating office politics, we are always moving through scalar fields of risk.
Say more about that. How does this apply to someone who has never rolled a d10 in their life?
Think about a project deadline. That deadline is the bridge. It's the gravity well. You have to get there.
And the problems that pop up along the way.
Those are the red units. Now, you can try to Death Star every problem obsess over one email, one minor error, trying to kill it completely. Or you can use distributed fire. You address multiple issues at once, keeping them suppressed, keeping them manageable, so you can keep moving toward that deadline.
Resilience over perfection.
Exactly. The math shows that trying to be perfect, trying to get that 100% kill on one single problem, often leaves you exposed everywhere else. It's much better to handle 5 problems at 80% efficiency than one problem at 100%.
That is actually really profound advice, and it comes from a paper about blowing up little cardboard bridges.
Wisdom comes from strange places.
It really does.
Yeah.
I think the big thing for me is that first hit concept, the idea that doing something early, even if it's small, just completely disrupts the opposition.
Momentum is mathematical. If you act first, you change the probabilities for your opponent. You force them to react to your game, not the other way around.
Before we wrap up, I have one question that the paper didn't quite answer for me. We know blue wins the 3-on-3 fight in the open, but in the bridge scenario, with that clock ticking down, does desperation change the math?
That is the ultimate variable, isn't it? The paper assumes rational actors, but when you have 2 turns left and the bomb is ticking, you stop caring about survival probabilities. You stop looking for the shadows.
You just run straight into the fire.
You run into the fire. Because a 10% chance of victory is infinitely better than a 100% chance of defeat by timeout.
And maybe that's the final lesson. The physics can tell you the odds, but it can't tell you when it's time to ignore them.
Sometimes you just have to take the risk.
I love it. We're going to link the paper, Kill Zone Probability Field Theory, in the show notes. If you want to see the heat maps and the graphs for yourself, it is definitely worth a look.
It will absolutely change how you look at every map you see from now on.
Thanks for this deep dive with us today. Go forth, distribute your fire, watch out for those quantum dummies, and we'll see you next time.
Stay safe in the shadows.